Hi, everybody. It's Peter de Toit and it's SoccerBeat, and we're looking forward to the Club World Cup. And this Club World Cup brings an interesting synopsis. And I'd like your Kaizer Chiefs fans, Orlando Pirates fans, and Mamelodi Sundowns fans, and all soccer fans in South Africa to come back to me on this discussion, because this is me talking to you, and this Club World Cup says a lot more than just football. And the repercussions of this Club World Cup has a big say in the PSL, Chiefs, Pirates, and Sundowns in particular going forward, because this is about the money. So please, guys, stay to the end. I want to hear your opinion on what I believe is a solution, in particular for Kaizer Chiefs and Kaizer Chiefs fans, because you're a bit far behind. I think there's a solution to make Kaizer Chiefs one of the richest clubs in this country. Listen till the end, because I'll build up this discussion to the very end. And guys, don't forget also to subscribe. There's a 50,000 Rand. I know it's not big money to Mamelodi Sundowns fans, but it's big money to everybody else. 50,000 Rand, want to reach 50,000 supporters. We're in the 44,000 mark, I think, right now. So come on, guys, let's get us there. We want to give you the money. Now, the Club World Cup. There's 4 very important points about this Club World Cup. The first thing, and listen to me now, I'm not being contentious. Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates fans, maybe you guys should actually pray and hope that Mamelodi Sundowns don't win a single game and don't progress further. That's the first thing. The second point is the opposite of that. The flip side is that all of us in South Africa, and I certainly will, should be supporting Mamelodi Sundowns and hope they do well, because obviously it reflects very well on South African football. So I'll be there supporting the Brazilians to make certain they do well. But don't forget, I said to Chiefs and Pirates fans, it may not be good for you. I'll tell you why later. Number 3, another positive about this Club World Cup. It does what the World Cup does, obviously, but not on a national basis. Well, it is national, but brings the club aspect into it as well, and allows teams like Sundowns and Wired and Al Ahly and South American teams and Asian teams to be able to compete with the very best of the world on a kind of almost equal footing, because it's a knockout competition, really, and it allows big exposure. I think it's very good from that basis. However, the fourth point is the critical one, which we'll get to. It just makes the gap bigger between the wealthy and the not so wealthy clubs. And in fact, and South Africa is a perfect example of this, Sundowns are obviously the wealthiest club in the country, but Chiefs and Pirates are not poor clubs. They're wealthy clubs in their own right, but it just makes this gap bigger and bigger, and therefore makes the gap below the big 3 even harder for these guys to get into that kind of bracket. So we've got to be very careful about money. It's a positive, but money can also be a negative. So that's where we stand. But let's look at the actual numbers, because the numbers, you can't fight. If someone's got all the cash, it's very difficult to beat the team that's got all the cash. Now, Sundowns have been dominating in South Africa for, as you know, the last 8 seasons. And it's not only because they've got the cash, it's also they use the cash well. In the past, they didn't use the cash well. They've learned to use it well. That's not to say other clubs aren't using their cash well, but you can't argue with these numbers. I mean, let's look at it. Sundowns, just for qualifying, have got themselves 175 million Rand. That already is more than the Chiefs and Pirates budget for transfers for the season combined. So besides the fact that Sundowns have already had a bigger budget for players, and they say they're going to put this entire money into transfers. So their financial clout, their financial, let's call it advantage, which is not an unfair advantage. Someone's invested money. There's nothing stopping Pirates and Chiefs getting that money coming from somewhere else as well. So we'll come back to that, but it's not as simple as that. So they're going to get another 175 million and it's not inconceivable, they win one game, draw one game, and lose a game. I mean, they can beat South American Ulsan. They could get a draw against Fluminense, and obviously Dortmund could beat them. But if they do that, that adds another 188 million, because they'd qualify for the next round. That would mean they'd get, on round figures, I'm using round figures on the Rand-dollar exchange rate, between 360, 350, 360 million Rand of extra cash going into their transfer kitty. This makes them a big club by any standard. Even if they draw 2 games and don't qualify for the next round, they'll still come away with 200 million. That is more money than the rest of the league, South African PSL put together. So, how do Chiefs and Pirates compete with this? Well, you start off with a plan. Chiefs and Pirates, and I know Pirates have got a 5-year plan to be able to compete with Sundowns, but you cannot compete unless you have the same goals. And Chiefs and Pirates' goal has got to be to dominate in Africa. That's the first thing. So Chiefs fans and Pirates fans, you need to say to your clubs, we expect domination in Africa. Now, yes, Sundowns are going to be in the Champions Leagues and Chiefs aren't, but Chiefs will still be in Africa. And dominating means you get in finals. You get in finals, you've got a chance to win it. That's your chance of domination. So the thinking has got to be flipped in South Africa. In the old days, there was no real interest in African competitions. We have got to have all 3 of our clubs dominating Africa. And Chiefs fans and Pirates fans have got to demand that. When we play in Africa, we've got to have full houses like Sundowns and Pirates have shown at home, because this is what is going to make this country going forward in our football. Because whether we like it or not, the world is becoming a smaller place, and there's going to be more. This has started off as a once every 4 years. Don't be surprised it goes to every 2 years. That I can assure you. Don't be surprised if this turns into an African league, a South American league, and a European league. Don't be surprised. Look at the ownership changing. Ownership changing in world football is going Saudi and going American. Americans are not as interested in the history of our football. Saudi wants their teams playing in world football. They've got the money to back that. Ownership dictates what happens. So be careful, guys. We mustn't be left behind. We cannot be sleeping in the tip of this continent. We've got to be thinking on a higher level, but at the same time, protect the PSL. We've got to protect the PSL. Whose responsibility is to protect the PSL? Club owners. And we've got to change our ownership model in the PSL, and I'll address this in a future episode. But club ownership in the PSL has got to have more fan say in it. And I'll talk about that. It's not something clubs should fear. It's something that clubs should embrace, and something like SAFA should embrace and the PSL should embrace. Because there are a lot of smart people amongst the fans and fan groups. So, but that's not for this discussion. But that is something that's got to be looked at for the growth of the PSL, because it's imperative. You can't just have Chiefs and Pirates and Sundowns growing. You don't grow. No club is an island. Chiefs and Pirates and Sundowns, and it's in Sundowns' interest as well that the league grows and that Pirates and Chiefs grow as well. So, how do Chiefs in particular? Because Pirates are on the right track. They push in Sundowns more so than anybody else. They've done it in the Champions League. They've beaten them in the league. They've come second. And I can tell you now, discussions with Pirates people, there is a 5-year plan in place. I feel that plan, by the way, Pirates, should be made public to your fans, because, understanding is very important, and you need your fans to understand that. But I'm not part of Orlando Pirates, but I would make that public. Now, let's go to Kaizer Chiefs. How do Kaizer Chiefs immediately start competing with Sundowns? And the only way they can compete immediately with Sundowns is when they need more money. How do they get more money? There's only 3 options here. 1, more sponsorship. That's unlikely. It's tougher times in South Africa, and the team's not dominating. So why would they get a quantum improvement in the amount of sponsorship they get right now? So I don't think that's going to happen. There are 2 options. The one option is that the family sells shares to a mega wealthy person, like another Patrice Motsepe. There are mega wealthy people who would want to benefact into a club like Kaizer Chiefs. They don't have to do 2-1. There are at least 3 or 4 incredibly wealthy billionaires. And I'm pretty certain if the Matwang family sat down with them and said, right, we need a cash injection every year of X amount, 200 million rand, 300 million rand, to compete with the Sundowns budget.
Welcome aboard Air Mobile, the new way to mobile. Expect a seriously easy experience. We took what's wrong with mobile and made it right. We've ditched things like crazy fees, expensive contracts, and overall nonsense. Up here, the data stays fresher for longer. No more expiring after 1 month. Plus, with eSIM, you can connect in minutes. Refer a friend and you both get 5 gigabytes of mobile data. Visit airmobile.co.za to get connected. T's and C's apply.
I believe there are enough people with enough money who want to be associated with a club. They wouldn't take control from the family, but they'd be putting the money to have a shareholding to make certain that they compete at the highest level with Sundowns to dominate in Africa. Because it's absolutely clear. Man United did it. The Edwards family couldn't compete with the big money. Abramovich turned Chelsea into a super club. Pyramids have been turned into a super club. Now, on that ownership matter as well, Pyramids are not owned by an Egyptian. Why can't a foreigner own a share in Kaizer Chiefs along with the Matuang family? That opens up. There's a lot of lots of billionaires in Africa who would want an involvement in a South African football club. And if we could take that club to another level, Ajax Amsterdam did it with a 49% ownership in Sundowns. So Chiefs, don't be afraid of selling shares. Your family, the Matuang family would still maintain control, but it needs a massive cash injection. You cannot compete at this level unless you're spending this somewhere in the same region of money that the leading clubs are spending. And you look at the top 4 or 5 teams in the English Premier League, you look at the top teams in Spain, Italy, and so on and so forth. In fact, Italian football has drifted down the ladder because they don't have the kind of money that can be spent by the EPL and La Liga at the moment. The third potential way that Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates can get a massive cash injection is by, and now listen to me, this may sound crazy, but who's the biggest club in Africa? Al Ahly. Who owns Al Ahly? The fans. The fans own Al Ahly. Who's the richest club in the world? Real Madrid. Who owns Real Madrid? The fans own Real Madrid. Barcelona, owned by the fans. Wydad in Casablanca, also owned by the fans. Now, I'm not saying that the fans should take over Kaizer Chiefs or Orlando Pirates. Orlando Pirates history actually leans towards that, but that's another story. Imagine if you get 500,000 people, Kaizer Chiefs fans, 500,000, paying 1,000 rand. Do your mathematics. 500,000 people paying 1,000 rand. That's easy. Or 1 million people paying 5,000 rand. The numbers are astronomical. So Kaizer Chiefs could sit down with a financial institution and drop a preference share basis or non-voting shares and sell shares to the public on the same basis that Real Madrid have done, not on a listed company basis, the way Real Madrid have done historically with the Wydad Casablancas and Al Ahly. Don't be afraid of fan participation. Kaizer Chiefs family, you've got to get more funds into that club to compete. It's impossible for you guys to burden it on your own. You're not a Motsepe. You've worked hard to become massive in South African football. You've done a great job. You've got great sponsorship, but it needs more money now, and it applies to Pirates as well. One of the ways is for wealthy people to buy into the club. The problem with the wealthy people buying into the club, they may just keep wanting more and more shares. It's happened at Arsenal and so on and so forth. A very clever way is to reward the fans prepared to pay to become non-voting members, or they can become voting members. There's lots of ways a financial institution can handle it. But let fans have some say by putting their money where their mouth is and just do the numbers. 1,000 fans paying 10,000 rand. 5,000 fans paying 10,000 rand. 10,000 fans paying 10,000 rand. The numbers are huge, sorry. So just do the numbers, do the math. It works out for itself. But what's got to happen, there's absolutely no discussion. Chiefs and Pirates need big investment to compete with Sundowns. The Club World Cup has said it all, 175 million rand for just being there. Once you're dominating, you'll get that money as well, and you'll have a seat at that table. Football is changing, whether we like it or not. I don't like the fact that money is all going to the biggest clubs. So we need to get more fan involvement, and that money can be shared. And that goes to the PSL model. I think there's a model in their PSL that you can have fan shareholding. Fans have a vested interest in this league. They don't want to be fans of the EPL and La Liga. We want to watch that football, but our heart is with South African football. Everybody out there, let me know in your comments what you think of, is it madcap plan? Is it crazy? It's definitely doable. And I tell you why it's doable. Where there's a will, there's a way. Whether we like it or not, money talks, walks. So, I've been straight with you. I love South African football. I want to see Chiefs, Pirates, and Sundowns. With due respect to all the other teams, they're traditionally our three biggest teams. It'll always remain that way. But if they grow, the rest of the league grows as well. PSL needs some changes, without a doubt. Chairman Irvin Khoza has taken this league to enormous heights, is now to take it to the next level. It's the time for a recalibration of South African football. Let me know what you think. I really appreciate it. In the comment section, please subscribe. Thanks for spending your time with me. Cheers, guys.